Pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Commissioner's report on financials.
That would be me.
Okay.
This was last week, Thursday. The highlights include the supplemental appropriation to the Building Improvement Fund for capital improvements, cash transfers from the General Fund to the Building Improvement Fund, cash transfers from the General Fund to the Family First Council and Volunteer Guardianship Program, cash transfers from the Public Assistance Fund to the General Fund for building lease payments. Encumbrances were placed for various water resources 2015 service contracts. There was encumbrance for the Subco Wellness Grant and a travel request for the Recorder's Office. Vouchers include a payment to InterSource for $12,000 for the updated E911 system and a payment to Lakeland Management in the amount of $130,690 for progress payment number 5 on the new County Engineer Office facility. Nothing for you on this reporting.
Any questions? No? Do you need to read that?
Yeah, no, there's no action to take on that.
Okay, then the next
So
one is
do
the,
the three of those together, or do you want to do them separately?
let's do all three of them together.
The Commissioner's Office is requesting the Board approve and execute the minutes for the meeting of January 29, 2015. The Commissioner's Office is requesting the Board approve and execute the minutes for the meeting of February 3, 2015. The Commissioner's Office is requesting the Board approve and execute the minutes for the special meeting of February 12, 2015.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Aye. Okay, we're doing the resolution for financials. Morning.
Financials for today included cash transfers from the Children's Services Fund to the Public Assistance Fund, cash transfer from various accounts to the Telephone Service Rotary Fund, that's for the payment of Windstream bill, travel requests for the Job and Family Services and Juvenile Probate Court, payment of $20,107 to the Geauga County Agricultural Society to reimburse for pavement project from the Community Development Grant Funding, payment of $29,860 from maintenance to Keystone US for video recording equipment at the Safety Center.
Questions, comments?
The Commissioner's Office is requesting the Board approve and execute resolution number 15-019, itemizing the financials for the meeting of February 17, 2015.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Aye. Thank you. We got to sign.
Next sign.
Mr. Weiss.
Think about Jesse. Department of Aging's next up.
Yeah. Jessica can say.
Good morning, Jessica.
Good morning.
Did you have trouble getting here this morning?
Nope.
Is that better?
I had drains clogged up this morning, frozen up.
Well, I have a rental car because my car kind of froze to death in my driveway yesterday, so other than when to drive a car and not a four-wheel drive, that was my only issue today. So we have Mary Ann Deach, our home delivered meals coordinator. She is retiring. Put this somewhere else.
Push
Project
there.
right now.
There you go. Is it too loud?
Is that better? I don't know. Mary Ann Deach, our home delivered meals coordinator, she is retiring. Upon thinking ahead and replacing her, I took a deeper look at the job description and did some revisions with the job description. Our home delivered meals coordinator, they manage over 100 volunteers as it is. So it only seems to make sense that I would add in their job description that they also be the volunteer coordinator, since they are coordinating the placement and the training of many of the volunteers. So that's what I came to today to revise this position moving forward. forward.
It's not really changing, not hiring anybody, it's changing the job description, basically.
Well, we are going to be, that's the next, we're going to be posting this because she is retiring. So moving forward, when we hire someone, this will be added into their job description.
Okay.
So do you want to do this?
Yep.
The Department on Aging is requesting the board approve the revised job title and description for the position of Home Delivered Meals and Volunteer Coordinator, number 1010. The Department on Aging is requesting the board grant permission to advertise for the position of full-time Home Delivered Meals and Volunteer Coordinator, number 1010. This position will remain posted until filled.
I'll make those motions.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Aye.
The next is, once again, we're just, with Sandy McLeod in place as a senior center supervisor, we were able to look at some job descriptions that they are working with and found some inaccuracies and outdated things in the job description, as well as some of the requirements were a little off as well. So we just did a revision of the site coordinator position and assistant site coordinator position.
So that's 8 and 9.
Yes.
The Department on Aging is requesting the board approve the revised job description for the position of Site Coordinator number 1004. The Department on Aging is requesting the board approve the revised job description for the position of Assistant Site Coordinator number 1005.
I'll make those motions.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Aye.
And the next is, we are encouraging our site coordinators to have a little bit increased responsibility. They've been given budgets to work with. And that being said, they're going to be responsible for shopping for a lot of their programs. So we wanted to add them on our giant Eagle card so that they themselves can work with their budget and make purchases as needed for their programs.
Any questions, comments?
The Department on Aging is requesting the board approve and authorize the president of the board to execute the application for authorization to permit the use of county credit cards form, personnel policy 7.11 form ORC 3001.27 to include David Craig, Melissa Brosh, Kathy Delaney, Kathy Hart, Becky O'Reilly, Peggy Peters, Marianne Van Pelt, Teddy Wallace, Amber Weinhardt, and Vicki Kruger on the PNC Giant Eagle grocery card with a per month amount limit of $1,000.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Aye. Jessica, do me a favor.
Sure.
Give me a call. I want to talk to you about the credit cards and the audit process for those.
Okay, I can have you speak with Chris Ansel if you'd like
Yeah.
as well.
You have somebody from the archives?
Welcome.
Hi, how are you? Okay, yeah.
I have two contracts. The first one, I'm asking for approvals for Allied Infotech for the maintenance of our microphone reader printer.
Okay.
And the second one is for Blue Technologies for the maintenance agreement on our office photocopier.
Okay, and this is standard, nothing's
And,
changed here,
yeah,
it's just the same.
absolutely nothing.
Yep, I will. I will let you know that number 12, you both have to sign the contract agreement on them. And then on the, I need to skip it to sign on these initial. This one is to sign. You both have to sign the agreement and then the second maintenance page.
I sign on the yellow ones, he signs on the blue ones.
No, unfortunately, no.
Make it easy.
He has extra work to do.
You have to just put a little sticker on here, Skip, Blake.
The Archives and Records Center is requesting the board approve and execute a contract agreement with Allied Infotech Corporation and further approve and authorize the president of the board to execute the equipment maintenance agreement renewal for the maintenance of the Record Center microphone reader printer for a one-year period in the amount of $895. The Archives and Records Center is requesting the board approve and execute a contract agreement with Blue Technologies and further approve and authorize the president of the board to execute and initial the service agreement for the annual maintenance of the Record Center copier for a 1-year period in the amount of $700.
I'll make those motions.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So let some, yeah, you can say it's all not holding anybody up here, so.
Greetings.
Karen, how are you?
Fine.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good.
This is just a request to fill a position that was vacated at the first of the year, and we need to fill it now.
Okay.
So it's not a new position or new money or anything.
How do you post it? You just put them in the paper and? Or how do you do that?
I don't do it. Personnel does it. So, I know it goes to like Job and Family and like Lakeland and all those kind of places, and then it's in the 02.
Okay.
The County Home is requesting the board grant permission to advertise for the position of part-time attendant number 1504-1 third shift. This position will remain posted until filled.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Karen.
Go sit down, man.
Yeah, you're up.
Wow, I thought I was way down on the list. Oh, wow.
You are way down on the
You're
list.
number
You're just
14.
late.
But you're on our list.
I got I thought you guys would talk longer, you know?
That's what you get for thinking.
Ralph's not here today, so we can move right along.
It's too cold.
It is too cold. Do I start or do you start?
You start.
Oh, I start, okay. This was when we lost our part-time shelter attendant. She moved to Arizona, which is great for her and all that.
Smart
so-
girl.
Exactly. I gotta go down there soon. But we interviewed the people that were there, and Carla Jones, she lives in Hamden, was a great applicant, and we're gonna hire her as long as she passes the drug test and the background check and all that. She seems very great and loves animals and all that, and wants to work with the animals. So.
The dog warden is requesting the board approve hiring Carla Jones to the position of part-time shelter attendant number 1607 to be effective February 23rd, 2015, at a rate of $10.47 per hour. After the successful completion of a 1,000-hour probationary period, the rate will increase to $11.20 per hour.
So move.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Wow, quick board.
Told you not to take the coat off.
See why you're almost late?
Take care.
See ya, now I gotta get here early from now on.
Morning.
Morning, Shane.
Good morning. How are you this morning? What you got?
We have the resurfacing of Rapids Road sections D through F in Troy and Burton Townships from 422 to the Burton Village line. This is the final resolution to order the plans, approve the specifications, and set the bid dates for March 11th at 2 p.m.
Okay. Any questions, comments? Nope, I don't think so.
The county engineer's office is requesting the board approve and execute resolution number 15-020 to order the improvement of Rapids Road CH1 sections D through F in Troy and Burton Townships. This resolution also requests the board approve and execute the title sheet of the specifications for the same. Further, this resolution sets a bid opening to be held on Wednesday, March 11, 2015 at 2 o'clock p.m. Notice of this bid opening will be advertised on February 19, 2015 and on the county website.
So move.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Okay.
Thank you.
We'll make sure it gets in the paper on Thursday, and I'll get this copy from you. Thanks.
Yep.
Thank you.
Gentlemen.
How are you?
How are you doing?
too, Scott.
Good morning.
Morning. We've got two items before you this morning. The first is we have an opportunity for another JAG grant, this Justice Assistance Grant, like we were here for last time. This one's a little bit smaller, and this one allows us to use for the match money from our law enforcement trust account, which, hope you recollect, is an account where the proceeds of criminal activity, when we seize that, go into this account. One of the permittable expenditures is equipment. So the first one is for that grant and that local match from that law enforcement trust account.
The Sheriff's Office is requesting the Board approve and authorize the President and the Board to execute the Office of Criminal Justice Services JAG LE Grant 2014 JG LE 5108 Standard Assurances and Pre-Award Conditions for MDT replacements in the amount of $7,535.20, $6,781.68 from the Office of Criminal Justice Services, and $735.52 from the Sheriff's Law Enforcement Trust Fund. This grant is for the period February 1st, 2015 through August 31st, 2015.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
The second item we have, as mentioned earlier, the law enforcement trust account. There are actually two types of those, one being the local one, the law enforcement trust account. The second is a federal one. When we partner on an investigation, narcotic work through DEA, etc., any seizures from that are required to be directed to a separate law enforcement trust account so we can meet the audit requirements, etc., as we expend that. So this would be the agreement for the certification for 2014, allowing us to continue that practice.
So this is interesting. So when you confiscate whatever the goods are with the situation, then the proceeds for the proceeds for that go into some sort of an account, and you share that account with the federal government.
That is shared with participating agencies.
Okay.
So, for example, if we did a joint investigation, us, perhaps Lake County, any other entity, and because of interstate transactions, DEA was involved in this example, then that money, we still get our share, goes into this account.
And who manages that account?
We do.
Who decides which, who gets what part of the share?
It's usually specified up front. Can include a prosecutor's office as well, as they expend time. It's based on level of participation. If we were to initiate the investigation, bulk of the investigation occurred here. Example might be the Newberry one. If you recall that large raid, certainly most of that would come here, but there was a portion of that that did tie and link to California. So you have some interstate activities as well.
So there's a federal umbrella over top of this, though. It's probably guided by federal law in terms of how distribution is
This is
made.
all ours, though. We don't provide any of this. This is all ours.
This is ours.
And this is how we spend it. That's what this report is.
If you could put a bookmark in that, I'd like to talk to you more about
Sure.
these shared funds, if you don't mind.
Sure.
So, all right.
The Sheriff's Office is requesting the Board approve and authorize the President of the Board to execute the annual federal equitable sharing agreement and certification affidavit for 2014.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
There's a question.
Question? What does MDT stand for?
Mobile data terminals, those
Oh,
are
okay.
computers utilized in our vehicles.
Okay, I kind of surmised that and figured that was too simple.
Sure.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, gentlemen. Stay warm.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, stay warm out there.
I'm putting a second sweater on mid. Good morning. Hi, Jerry. How are you? Nice screen.
So far, we're having a lot of getting the, last year we had a lot of issues with when it got really cold with our vacuum systems. but this, we did a complete reevaluation of the systems and some maintenance, regular maintenance in that in the fall and the summer last year. So far, again, we've been pretty good with the vacuum systems this year.
Wow. There's a lot of people with frozen pipes and stuff.
Yeah, well, with our vacuum systems, that's our shallowest sewers. Those are about 4 feet deep, so those are the ones that could freeze up on us. The sewers are good, and then our water line's 6 feet deep, so.
Gotta get real cold with no cover for that to freeze.
Right.
Okay, what do you got?
First item here is our Thompson project. It's a change order increase of $35,199.20 for some electrical changes, building modifications. The electrical changes actually were brought on by CEI when we went to them with what was originally designed and approved by CEI. They came back with about a $50,000 bill for us to put in their transformers and things like that. If they did that on their pole instead of at the building, we weren't going to get charged that $50,000. So we're now making adjustments to the electrical. Instead of having all the electric at the building, it's now being done at the pole. So we have to run additional lines, different work. So the building modifications included a new addition of a sump for groundwater dewatering to our vacuum system, and that was a result of the new location of the plant. We put when they were digging that hole, they were having a lot of groundwater infiltration there. So we added a sump into there, and then what we found on some of our other properties, we've had the metal roofs, and we've had the cleats put on those. But what we've been finding is those aren't seeming to work as well with the snow. So we're doing a different, snow guards and that around the roofs. So these are the additions that weren't in the original contract.
So when the project was first brought up, did CEI was it not involved in the?
They're involved in it, but they won't give you a cost until you actually are applying for the permits and getting the electrical service.
Really?
And then they tell you what the cost will be.
No, so
They'll
there's always
review
a surprise with them.
They'll review the plans and they'll say, yeah, this looks good, this is okay with us. We don't have any issue with the way you have it out.
Mhm.
But once you apply, that's when they come back and they do all their internal engineering, and that's when they come back and say, well, that's gonna be 20,000 or 10,000, or in this case, it's about 50,000.
Originally, were the transformers at the,
Everything was gonna
building?
be at the building. Now they're putting it on the poles, but now we have different underground electric and different, bigger lines and that have to run from the poles in the building instead of.
yeah, why would they,
Because it would be off of it would not be on their poles and in their.
so they would have had to
Closer
pay
to
for
there.
the wiring to the transformer?
Well, that's where they're coming up with the 50,000 would be their cost of installing transformers at the building and.
Because it's not that far off the street, right?
It's actually the building's about 150 feet off the street. So
That's nothing.
yeah. But it had to do with everything with all of CEI's equipment basically being at the building as opposed to being on a pole.
And which do you think is the right way to do it?
Either way is fine. I mean, I understand CEI's desire to have it on their poles, but it was just kind of a decision that was made that it seemed that way everything would be inside our fence line. Now that it's up on the pole, so it's not an issue with safety or anything like that, but it was just a matter of having everything closer to the building.
They're still running all the wires underground?
Yes.
Okay.
The Department of Water Resources is requesting the board approve and authorize the president of the board to execute change order number 1 and increase the contract A with Envirocon Construction Incorporated for the Thompson Township Sewer Project for electrical changes, building modifications, and testing for the new wastewater treatment plant in the amount of $35,199.20.
So move.
Second?
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Aye.
And the next item is another one of our annual service contracts. This one is with Arrow Contracting for excavating services. Right now, we're asking for it to be open at 20,000. based on past history with Ionero, he's usually he's one we use a lot when we need it, because he does a very good job and at an inexpensive cost. When we start getting quotes for the work done, in the past we've used about 50% of that, but we're doing a lot more in-house with a lot of our service contracts, so more of them. We tend to only use these service contracts when it's something that we don't have the equipment for or don't have the manpower for, because we're doing other work.
The Department of Water Resources is requesting the board approve and execute a service contract agreement with Romano Ionero Contracting Incorporated to perform excavating services as needed at various locations for the year 2015 in an amount not to exceed $20,000.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Great,
Thanks, Jerry.
Okay. Do you have anybody from the?
Yeah, I'll explain this one. The Commissioner's Hiring Authority, we have a policy that states that you cannot accrue more than 200 hours of vacation if you're, based on how you earn your vacation. Newer employees accrue at a slower rate than employees that have been here longer. But to be fair to everybody, after a couple of iterations, the board decided a couple of years ago upon a policy that says, once you get to 200 hours, if you haven't taken your vacation, you start losing that time above 200 hours. In other words, you can never have more than 200 hours worth of vacation in the bank. We've had a situation before with the building department, and it's arisen again, where their workload is such that people can't take vacation without us falling behind on doing permitting and all that. So within the policy that you've established for the 200-hour max, you have the discretion, if you so choose, to waive that policy for a department for a period of time if there's a situation where the tempo of activity is such that they can't take a vacation without things falling behind. So we're asking for you to temporarily suspend the 200-hour maximum for the building department until the open position that was created with the vacant or the departure of an employee here a couple weeks ago. So we would assume this will probably be for a couple months until they get somebody in here. Once they have the new employee to replace the individual that left, we'll put the policy back in place.
So primarily, this is because we're short a person.
Correct.
And the others have to work more hours and can't take vacation time.
Correct.
Well, they could, but we'd be.
We fall further behind.
Mhm.
The Commissioner's Office is requesting the board approve the suspension of the 200-hour maximum accrual for vacation for the building department until the open position is filled in accordance with Geauga County Personnel Policy and Procedure, vacation leave effective February 17th, 2015.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Aye. Read the next one.
The Commissioner's Office is requesting the board concur with Montville Township trustees in not requesting a hearing on the liquor license requested by MAS Pioneer LLC doing business as Pioneer Waterland located at 10661 Kyle Road, Chardon, C TRFO 5626330.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Very well, thank you. I have a revised version of this based on our conversation earlier today. Commissioner Claypool requested that for purposes of consistency, that one word be changed in the proposed policy. That's the one in red at the bottom, and then I noted above it in red to show the consistency that was requested. The reason that we're addressing this policy is that we did some tweaks to it last November, and it caused a lot of issues for some of our 24-hour operations, and the department heads came back and talked to us about it, what would work better for them, and this reflects that. We had made it so that people who worked on holidays would receive overtime, but for purposes of computing overtime compensation, we weren't going to allow them to use holidays that they didn't actually work. And what we were told by the department heads is that it would be better if we flipped that and let those federal holidays continue to be used for compensation.
Calculations,
but that sick and vacation time, because they're more discretionary, not be used for purposes of calculating overtime. An example would be if somebody took 3 days off and then they came in on Thursday and worked over a couple hours to catch up, then they would want overtime for that, which, you know, their vacation time is somewhat discretionary, and theoretically you should be able to work around that in your ordinary workday. And so what we did was we actually took most of the language from the part that's called overtime out of the CCAO model policy manual, just tweaked it a little bit for what we wanted to do, and we have flipped it back to where holidays are going to be used for compensation, overtime compensation calculations, but sick, vacation, and paid and unpaid time, which will cover the paid days off that the commissioners occasionally grant, will not be used for calculation of overtime compensation. So, and I ran it past the department heads that are affected this time and made sure that what it says is gonna work better for them, because they were having trouble filling necessary slots just because people were disgruntled about the holiday calculation being removed. So this is our fix for that.
Okay, I don't have any questions, I just think we have a good time looking over this, and you and I talked about it at length, so.
Appreciate it, thank you.
Any questions, Lee? No, we're good?
The Commissioner's Office is requesting the Board approve the revised overtime compensatory time policy in the Geauga County Personnel Policy and Procedure Manual to be effective February 15th, 2015.
So moved.
Second?
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Aye. Thank you. Catch that last one.
Sorry.
Thank you, Lou.
She's gonna be joining us in, it's all right with you guys?
That's fine.
Yep.
The Commissioner's Office is requesting the Board move into executive session for the purpose of discussing the discipline of a public employee in the transit department.
We'll have Mike Casper join us and Linda and myself.
And
moved.
Karen DeCola.
Karen
Here.
DeCola, I'm sorry.
Hearing officer.
Yes.
So
Have
moved.
a second?
Second? Sorry?
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
We expect action when we return.
We will.
You will?
Yes, because you're gonna bring me the paper.
9:50.
Actually, they don't need to sign it, it's not enough hours.
Oh.
The order of removal is not necessary.
And we can get rid of
Yes,
the bottom part.
yes.
Okay, we returned at, what time is that? 10:58?
9.
Or 9:58, sorry.
Hour early. As they were saying, oh, come here. The Transit Department is requesting the Board accept the disciplinary recommendation of the hearing officer, Karen DeCola, and to suspend without pay Jack Klingman, full-time transit driver in the Transit Department for 8 hours, 1 workday for violation of Transit Policy Manual, pages 10, Best Practices, Preventable Accidents, Level 2, Side Swipe.
So moved.
Second?
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Commissioners.
Have a safe day out there.
Thanks.
I went
Yeah.
through the stand here. This is the pile that you just have to sign. This is the pile of both.
Okay, so we can get this wrapped up and close the meeting, then I'll go about signing and the opportunity to sign. So acknowledgement, do we need to do the acknowledgements?
We were talking about Dawn.
They're just on there, you don't have to do them.
And I'm looking at any acknowledgements.
Right, but then we
I
moved
don't
down.
see anything.
She doesn't get another
People
raise.
can't read for themselves. The upcoming meetings on the 20th is going to be a Nowaka Transit Council Bicycle Pedestrian Advisory Meeting, and there's going to be a lot of excited people there. Monday the 23rd, the Family First Council at the mental health offices. Tuesday the 24th, the commission is going to hold a regular session. Thursday the 26th, we're going to hold a regular session. And Friday, the 27th, NOACA Finance, Audit, Governance, and the Executive Committee are going to be meeting in Cleveland. And that's it. So, anybody have any questions? If not, we're going to move to adjourn. And I second.
All right.